after this. Okay, so I'm starting the recording now. I just told a quick story about the tango Saturday that I participated in Central Park this past Saturday. It's every Saturday in Central Park, 6 to 9 p.m. And it's amazing and beautiful. And all it takes is a speaker system with music, and I'm assuming a permit from the city, maybe, and a consistency. And that was the thing that Jen was mentioning, is that keeping that consistency really, really solid. And I'm sure that these folks have been doing this for many years because it's just really well established. And yeah, that consistency, I'd say, is the hardest part and also the most important part. Like you don't even need to necessarily be good at it. Like it's more important to be consistent with it than any of the other things, I think.
I don't know. The one thing that I do, my side hustle, is a really huge pop party every summer, and there have been some years where like the sponsorship just hasn't worked out, and like we can't go in the red. Like that's thousands of dollars, on us. So,
you say a huge what kind of a party?
It's a pop-up white party called Chicago in White. We started it in 2011. So this is being recorded, so I won't get too deep into the specifics because some of it's behind the curtain. But yeah, it's expensive. I mean, dealing with the city and getting those permits and all that other stuff, it's a lot of dollar bills.
Yeah, that issue of consistency when there's risk involved and not profit involved, that it's really just out of the kindness of your heart.
Yeah.
Hard to maintain that over time. Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you have any thoughts as to how that works? Like what the tricks are to kind of keep something going like that?
Yeah. Advanced planning, honestly. And having all parties on board with pitching in, being honest with their bandwidth. I find that when our team's not able to follow through and not able to do things with adequate lead-in time, that's where we run into the most problems. So, yeah.
Yeah, I imagine if you have a complicated operation, it sounds like this thing that you're describing is not a simple thing to pull off. Then it becomes challenging because you've got people who are volunteering, and when people are volunteering, basically it's only as important as their ability to contribute to it allows. And the moment something else more important comes along, this moves down the queue real fast, right?
And at the same time, I always feel great pressure because if my name's attached to it, like I want it to be good. And yeah, it's not always the easiest thing to deal with. So
yeah, I hear you. Yeah, and so one of the things I'm also kind of picking up from it is that because I've had similar things, like I've done bar camps in New York and other basically free things or just things that I do because I care about them. And yeah, the dependencies definitely make it a lot harder, because if there are a lot of moving parts and everyone needs to kind of work in sync in order for it to work, then it's going to be difficult if nobody's getting paid.
Right.
Conversely, if you can make it so simple that it's really easy to do it, even if you don't put a lot of effort into it at all, then I think it makes it kind of hard to kill, in the sense that even if the leader steps away, somebody else could very easily step up and kind of pick up the mantle. So maybe part of it is just, it's either got to be a sustainable structure that makes money or have the ambition to become that one day, or it's got to be so easy that it's really just facile for someone to do it and easy enough for them to maintain it, where it doesn't drain them from the stuff that they need to do, and it's easy to hand off. Like this tango thing, like if like anyone could do it. You just need to have a PA system and show up at the right time, and like it's not hugely difficult to pull off. So,
what's really funny is I told my partner, look, I'm not gonna be able to put in as much time to this summer as I have in the past because I'm opening a co-working space. And she ended up finding someone to kind of come on to assist in that. So it's kind of nice because I just like had to put up boundaries and it worked. So
All right, well, that's good. So tell me more about that. Like, how did it feel, first of all, to make that communication, and how was it received, and how did they end up finding the help?
She found this person through a network, through a group that she belongs to. And this other person has been really terrific and a lot like me. You ever see the movie Election with Reese Witherspoon? Tracy Flick?
I don't remember. I've heard of it. I don't remember if I've seen it or not.
A little bit like Tracy Flick. Not quite so sociopathic, but but I just like, I have my calendar, I have my spreadsheets, I'm gonna get it done. Like, and my partner is not exactly that way. So in some ways we balance each other out. I like to say that together we're like a cupcake, and I'm the cake part, and she's like the frosting and the sprinkles. Like, nobody wants to eat a naked cupcake, but by the same token, you'll get sick if all you eat is the frosting. It's like you need the two of us together. And now this new person, she's like the cupcake wrapper, so she's like holding it all together too.
That is a brilliant image.
Yeah. So what was your question? Oh, what did I say to her? I just said, look, this is the reality of it. I've been able to be super flexible in years past and work on this, like, especially in the weeks leading up to it, nonstop. But I absolutely cannot do that this year. And it is what it is. And we can either go dark or we can find someone else. What are your thoughts? And I had to like throw down the gauntlet with her. Is yeah.
Well, it's good to be decisive about it too, and say, instead of trying to half do it or keep too many plates spinning. I've seen that happen too often, and it's a well-intentioned thing, but it's an ego-driven thing that, to say, well, I have to do this or it won't work, and ultimately it doesn't serve you, and it doesn't serve the thing that you're trying to support either.
Right.
The fact that you're doing this is a non-trivial undertaking, and it needs to be respected in that way. You need to treat it that way, and that's it's gonna send a signal out to everybody. It's gonna send a signal inward to yourself as well that I think is just super important. So I'm glad to hear that. Good work.
Let me tell you about one other thing that we're doing, because it's related to co-working. The link to this is not publicized anywhere, right?
No, this is just within our internal group, so this is not public.
Okay, so if anyone's listening to this, shush. We plan to branch out into a series of events, other than just the white party, and really focusing on the notion of community and the City Beautiful movement. Are you familiar with that?
No, but it sounds neat.
Yeah, it really took root in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Daniel Burnham, architect, really big, huge name here in Chicago. He was a big proponent of this concept that basically aesthetics matter. And if a city is designed in a beautiful manner, it lifts up the zeitgeist of the people and everything. Basically, if things, it's the opposite of the broken window theory, which says that broken windows, people aren't going to take care of it. So this is kind of the opposite of that. And we're just going to take this a step further and be like, the city is what you make it. A city can happen any place, and it's just about when people come together and break bread and join and do all the co-working stuff. So my partner has actually had the idea for several years called Work the Beach, which would be a co-working day at the beach. We probably need to get like a Wi-Fi sponsor and a couple other things, get some cabanas out there or something. And I'm thinking that it might not be completely out of the question to still do it for this year. Need to talk to Sam Rosen. Maybe he wants to get involved, but so I feel like this is like right up Dusk Pass
Yeah, I mean, I think DeskPass would probably love the PR factor of being able to add a location on the beach on their app for for a while.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it would just be like a day thing, and maybe it would end with cocktails and co-work and mixing and stuff like that. Networking. So and Ivy Day House would be a sponsor.
Sure.
So that'd be because I've been thinking of an organic way to introduce my co-working space to my Chicago and white people, because there's like 5,000 people on that list.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's a little thing that I'm going to be working on right now until we're able to start construction of Day House.
That is so exciting. That's super cool. And you wouldn't be in the lead on it. You wouldn't be the one in charge. You wouldn't be the leader of that effort.
Actually, I would.
You would. Okay. But you'd have help. You'd have other people who are helping you on that. And you said your partner. Who's your partner?
I've got, the partner of the corporation of the company is Kelly, and then Ronnie is the new gal who came on.
Okay.
So Kelly and I are co-owners.
Gotcha. Kelly and Roddy. Ronnie?
Ronnie, yeah. She's the new partner.
Cool. Yeah, I would love to get them on a call one day.
I'm sure they'd love to talk to you.
Yeah. Neat. Okay. So here's the thing and Christy, I haven't forgotten about you. I'm thinking about you as we're talking about this stuff too. One of the things that I'm seeing coming up here that's important is a balancing act that, frankly, is just a very personal thing. Because one side of me wants to guard your focus and attention on, on the fact that you have a core product that you have to get out into the world. However, what I found consistently works for me is to do stuff that is different and interesting and attention grabbing. And that story that comes from doing the interesting stuff is what creates this intrigue and allure that ends up enticing people to want to be a part of your space. Mm-hmm. So there's kind of this strategic balance to be had of doing your best to stay super focused on your core thing and not letting yourself get too distracted with, a bunch of different ideas, while also making really strategic moves to do things that are just awesome and interesting and attention grabbing and fun. And it's probably a matter of just feeling into this kind of secret sauce of, no, this is going to be great. I'm going to make it great. It's going to be really fun. And there's some momentum behind it. And so we're going to go for it. And I guess it's just, a matter of constantly checking in on your opportunity cost and how much time and energy it's taking and all of that stuff to make sure that you're not letting something get out of control. Because I could imagine a project also being this is a good example. Like we were going to do a launch party for my co-working space when we moved into the larger version of it. And so we had all this construction we were going to do, we had all this stuff. And we were going to do a block party. We were going to do we had this idea to do like a whole carnival of stuff. We were going to get like a bouncy castle and we were going to do all these things because it turned out that our building was facing this tiny little block in Tribeca that was kind of this like dead end block. And it was a perfect place to do like a takeover of the block and try to get other businesses in the area on board and get some sponsors. Going to be this whole spectacle to really draw a lot of attention to what we were doing. And as we continued to plan the idea, the more we thought about it, the bigger it got and the more exciting it got, but then the more impractical it started to look. And then we said, well, maybe this isn't a good use of our time because this is going to end up being a massive project. And then we said, well, what if we did it inside of our space? Because that would require a lot less work and this and that. And we put some time into that. And then we said, even that's going to be crazy. And we have way more to do in terms of just getting this project off the ground that we made these kind of calls that, we probably needed to scale back expectations. And what we ended up with was just throwing a really great launch party, which was not that much more than that, a really great launch party. But it ended up really serving the project to get ambitious and then recognize it was too ambitious and then chop down, chop down, chop down. And what we ended up with was what was really practical for what we needed to do. And that doesn't always happen. Sometimes you say, you know, this is exciting and you just keep going and you go through it. But you can have these little like milestone moments of saying, okay, is this getting out of control? Do we need to rein this in? So maybe you'll end up with a similar experience.
Yeah, I'm going to have to be very careful about balancing it all. But, you know, with two other people working on it from Chicago and White, I can get my community engagement director, Jessica, on it as well. If we get desk passing on it, you know, there'll be more people. So that's right. So now I have to talk to Sam because I told you that I would.
And you know him already, yeah?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, and you know, Sam's a busy guy and he's got a kid and he's got a startup and all that, so it might take him a while to respond, but doesn't hurt to send an email. Emails are free.
Totally.
For better or worse, email is free. So
that's not true. Goes into your mind.
So Christy, I got off into the conversation with Jen, but how's all this landing for you? How's this kind of juxtaposing with what's on your mind?
It all falls into place. I'm planning a couple of events myself and have experienced that stop and think about it for a minute moment for sure of, you know, don't go so overboard that you know, don't allow it to get so blown out of proportion. It could be a lot of fun, but you know, what's your purpose for doing this, and how can what you're doing accomplish that purpose? It really, sometimes it just has to be that simplified for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit more about the events that you're working on?
Well, the one Wednesday morning is a meet and greet this Wednesday morning from 8 to 10 because it is National Blueberry Muffin Day. And so I'm taking the opportunity to welcome the local businesses because we're located in the downtown area into the space to give them a peek at the space and maybe educate them a little more about co-working, and then send them on their way to work with a blueberry muffin.
Did you say you're inviting local businesses?
Yes.
What kinds of businesses?
All kinds of businesses. So I put this out to all the downtown businesses.
How did you do that?
What's that?
How did you do that? How did you reach them?
I did it on my Facebook. I did it on my Instagram. A lot of them are following both. I did it through the Chamber of Commerce, and then we printed up some half-page invitations with all the information on them. And I personally went around to the downtown businesses on an afternoon last week, introduced myself, and gave them the little invitation. And it was a really great experience. I got to talk with some individuals, a couple of them at different banks, and help them to understand the benefit of having the co-working space within the community and you know, how that benefits them.
Christy, this is so cool. Where can we, is it possible to see this online somewhere?
It's on our Facebook page. You know, it should be on our website, but I would have to check to make sure that my friend had put that up. We were working on that. Last week we were working on that, as well as our launch party at the end of the month, as well as it was the 4th of July.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
So, and then I've had appointments all morning. I'm actually at home right now. So, you know, so there's that balance. It's like trying to make all of it flow together and do what's necessary to pull off these events without allowing them to get so big that I can't handle, because I am a single mom and I'm working to, take care of my daughter, raise my daughter. So I don't know. There it is. You see it?
I see it.
That's our flyer that I handed out.
You used your logo for the blueberries?
I did not. My friend did that. Yes, he did.
Cute.
Isn't that fantastic? I thought it was fantastic. He just shrugged his shoulders. Whatever.
Adorbs McGorbs. I love it. I'm going to like it. Actually, I'm going to love it. There you go.
Thank you.
Wow. Love it. Gotta get that extra social media juice into the algorithm. More likes and more comments. It'll boost the visibility. So there you go. Wow! So exciting. So is there a way that people can RSVP, or do you have a sense of what the response has been to this yet?
Well, at the top of this, I did ask people to go ahead and like our page and send us a thumbs up if they're interested in attending.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
I've gotten one.
Yeah.
The workshop that I held, that I hosted at our space in June, a local business owner hosted it, and she got no response, 0 response, even though she asked people to respond if they were coming. And there were 10 or 12 people there that showed up, none of which responded. So that's a challenge. So I'm starting with lots of coffee cakes and stuff that can be frozen if we don't use it all up, and 3 very large blueberry muffin trays with blueberry muffins of various size, and coffee and tea and orange juice. So I felt like, that's kind of a low investment for something like this. Everything can be put in the freezer or used up. We're not far from our open door ministry, which is a ministry to the homeless, feeding the homeless. So I felt like it would be a little investment for what I'm hoping is going to be a big impact.
Okay, Christy, I want to talk about why I love this. There are many things that I love about what you're doing, and I think it's valuable to the other folks who are going to be watching this video. So let's break it down. I hope I remember all the things that I like, because there are a lot of things that I like about it. Number one, it is really simple and straightforward in terms of what it is, right? So it's very easy for you in terms of developing it and communicating it. Come over and get a blueberry muffin, right? It's a really easy, straightforward thing. It's not about the workspace itself, although it is raising awareness of what you are building. It's not trying to invite people to come and sit on their laptop in your space. It's about coming to get a muffin and interact, which is really valuable. It's food, and people love food. People love breaking bread. People love blueberry muffins. It's an indulgence, and it's cheap, right? Like, it's cheap food. You're not buying everyone a gourmet meal. It's blueberry muffins, so it's not the most expensive investment in the world that you can make. And even if you're, even if you're touting, you haven't done it here, but if you could say in a subsequent communication, by the way, these are going to be the best blueberry muffins you've ever had. We're getting it from this bakery in town where they blah, 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 right? Like, there's some kind of angle to that. It's that much more enticing, because it's like, yeah, I've had good blueberry muffins, but now that I think of it, I haven't had a truly transcendent blueberry muffin experience in a long time. And I'm remembering I actually did go to that one place where they had those muffins that blew my mind. I would love to have an experience like that again. And if I could be enticed that maybe this will be as good, if not better, than that old memory of blueberry muffins, yeah, I'm there, right? So love that. You hustled hard to get the word out through many different channels, which is terrific. And in particular, it sounded like you're going after other connectors. So you're not just going after individuals who you want to attend, but you're going after people who can help you to reach a lot more individuals, which is awesome. And that's a superpower for sure. And what else do I like about this? I love the graphic, and I forget what else I love about it, but I love it. And congrats. I'm really excited for you.
Thank you.
So, yeah. So what I'm thinking is you are now in a really great position to make this a valuable experience. And I'm wondering what we can do to help to close the loop on this, since you're on the doorstep of it happening. One of the things that I would want to see happen to take some of the uncertainty out of this is for you to try to lock in people to promise to come. And that requires one-on-one outreach, because the online stuff, people tend to just not say yes to stuff online until it's a dance floor thing, right? Like everyone's a wallflower until you get the first few people out on the dance floor, and then everyone else comes, right? So if you can even ask somebody specifically, like, hey, comment on this post and tell everyone you're coming, right? If you get 3 or 4 or 5 people to do that, then the momentum builds, and it's a lot easier for the next 3, 4, 5 people to say yes. Does that make sense?
That's a fantastic idea, because I know I can get a handful of businesses downtown to comment on it.
Right. And you can make it clear to them, hey, look, it would be hugely helpful to me if you just jumped on there and said that you're coming. And there are some people who are definitely going to come, or people who you're pretty sure are going to come. And then the other thing is that it helps to lock it in for people who are thinking about doing it, but might or might not come based on just how they happen to feel. And what we want to do is we want to push those people over the edge, because what's going to happen is there's somebody who is thinking about coming to this and might likely come to it. But then that morning, they just wake up and they don't really feel like it. Or they wake up and there's, some distractions at work or whatever that they're like, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I won't go for it, right? But if you nudge them and just say, hey, I'd really love for you to come. And if you could, do you think you can make it, right? And the person's like, yes, I can. Now they're committed, right? Like now they know you're expecting them to come. And so that just little nudge will help someone go from being like 50-50 to being like, okay, I don't particularly feel like getting out of bed this morning, but I told her I was going to come, so I'll do it, right?
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, just stuff like that. So much of the work is in that first 5 or 10 people. That's really where the most of your effort goes. Because once you get those 5 or 10 and it's visible and there's pictures and people see it, the validation online, the next 5 or 10, come with a lot less direct effort. So yeah, I'd love to see that. If you make that push, that's going to help you to really capture the value of the good work you've done up to this point.
Okay, I can do that. That is definitely doable.
Nice. Do you know where you're getting your blueberry muffins from?
We don't have a local bakery.
What?
So
Glens Falls doesn't have a bakery? That's someone's new business.
We have people that make wedding cakes, but nobody that makes muffins. Everybody gets them from, their out-of-town sources. Like there's a lot of cafes and coffee shops in town, but they get them from, other sources. They don't make them there. So I ordered platters, big platters that feed 25 people each from the grocery store. And they're fantastic muffins.
Nice.
So, but rather than say that, I'll have to think of I can still say these are going to be the best blueberry muffins you've ever tasted.
Yeah, I mean, you can highlight the grocery store that you're working with that is local, and then you can still highlight the muffins that, like wherever they're coming from or like whatever you know about them, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's so funny, but like, they don't even have to be remarkable. It's still blueberry muffins. They're still wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, like who doesn't enjoy a blueberry muffin? And yeah, that's great. I'm wondering about like other condiments or other like ways you can play it up. Personally, I like a toasted blueberry muffin that might not be sustainable, but it might still be a nice little way to entice people.
Could do compound butters. So like you could do a honey butter, like just different type of butter to go.
That's a good idea.
Salted butter. Salted, really nice with sweetness on the muffin.
Yeah, because then there's this notion of like, well, you've had a blueberry muffin, but have you ever had it with XYZ deluxe honey butter?
There you go.
Christy, this is how you end up running a blueberry muffin shop instead of a co-working space. But well, hey,
right. Right.
I'm so excited for your TEDx talk of how I started a co-working space and ended up the blueberry muffin mogul of the Hudson Valley.
With my blueberry muffin food truck.
Yeah. Oh, this is great. I'm so excited. What else can we talk about with this? I want to spend the whole conversation here just talking about this event and how we can have fun with it. Okay.
Came up with another butter idea, lavender.
Lavender?
Lavender, that would be an interesting combo, yeah.
Jen, we're losing you on audio. You want to switch off your video so we can hear you? I don't want to miss any of your excellent insights into muffin augmentation.
That sounds like a LinkedIn title. Can you hear me better now?
I think so. There was still a little choppy. Try again.
Okay, how about this?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, okay. So I was just saying lavender. So I feel like lavender might be an interesting part of the mix. Or almond. That's another thing you could do.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, Christy, do you have a place in town where you can get interesting like butters or cream cheeses or things like that? I guess you don't do cream cheese on a muffin, but
we actually have a lavender farm close by that has been marketing like crazy. I can reach out to them and see if there's something that we can cook up real quick.
Well, and even if they can't do it for you, I mean, it would be super easy. You just, because not everyone is going to want every single kind of butter. And, when they're gone, they're gone. You just have to get a butter in your mixer and, mix it up.
Right.
Boom, done. It won't even take very long.
And I'm telling you, this is the beauty of this. The work you put into developing these relationships will bear great fruit, right? Like lavender farm in town. Yeah, let's make a relationship. Can you have a weekly lavender shipment come to your space just to like beautify the space, to have some fresh cut lavender in the space, with a little business card, sponsored by Jane's Lavender Farm. Just having that, not like we expect the lavender farmer to be a major source of marketing for you, but it's a big part of your story. To be able, even to put on social media, oh, we got our fresh lavender from local lavender farmer Jane, right? Just amazing stories to be told.
I really like making the local connections and the local partnerships. I have another initiative that I'm working on. I may have told you about this last week, actually, called Wellness Wednesdays, for women to have women come into the space, local women from the community, once a month. Title it, of course, Wellness Wednesday. Start out with an individual, a small local business from the community, such as I've got a lady that owns an acupuncture studio around the corner from me. There's another lady that owns a yoga studio down the street from me. And so to start off with 30 minutes of, the stretching or the yoga meditation, or a talk from the acupuncture lady, and then have a very light breakfast, and then sit down and co-work, and basically just trying to reach the women business owners in the community who can identify with the thought that it's tough to balance it all, and somewhere in all of us, in trying to find the balance, we lose our self-care, and we're not sitting correctly at the desk, or we're wearing high heels and they're causing us problems, and what can we do about it? So just different simple little stuff like that maybe could be addressed by one of these specialists in the morning, and it may possibly work out to net more business for them, and coworkers for me, and again, just growing that community that we have.
That sounds amazing, and it sounds like it's of personal interest to you as well, which is always a healthy thing, right?
Yeah, it's definitely something I'm very passionate about. I'm an athlete. My mother was diagnosed with cancer and struggled her entire life with illnesses, and she passed away at the age of 40. So I've outlived her so far. So it's absolutely something I'm passionate about, the whole wellness and health, and physically, mentally, emotionally, all of it. So
that's really important, Christy, because I think anybody who works for themselves has a challenge to meet around those kinds of things. And in fact, everybody does, right? Mm-hmm. Regardless of your work status. And I think a big part of where co-working needs to go is to position itself not as workspace rental, but as support communities where people are helping each other get better at these things. So, right. I would love it if we sat down a few months from now and you told me that you had a bunch of people who are members of your community who had no need for workspace, but who badly needed to be around other people who were working on getting better at all the things you just described.
Yeah, that would be exciting.
Yeah. I mean, we know that the need is there. Mm-hmm. And that's where I think there's just a lot of opportunity, that if people see I can be a member of this community, and if I am a member of this community, then I'm going to be around people who are going to help me get better at this thing that's not going to be easy for me to do on my own. Right. And that's really powerful, and it gives people a reason to stick around for a long time. And this is where it comes in handy to have like a really accessible membership level that's not too expensive, where again, they're not paying to really use the space as much as they're paying to be a part of the community that uses the space. So, even if I don't come in to work there very often, I want to come in for the Wellness Wednesday, right? And maybe stick around to work during that Wellness Wednesday, or, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I love that. Really exciting. What's the next step as far as implementing that?
I meet with the ladies this week, one of them tomorrow, and then another later in the week, and one this evening. So what I really wanted was to have 4 ladies lined up before I launched it, 4 professionals, I should say, that will commit to doing this, and then launch it and continue to work on. So it's going to be once a month, so that will take me through 4 months, and then further down the road, just continue to work on it.
Great. One suggestion I would make, and I would say, maybe it's too late to do this for this Blueberry event, but Facebook events are terrific for helping you get the word out as well. So if you've got the Wellness Wednesday, if you've got the sequel to the Blueberry Day, Blueberry Muffin Day on Facebook events, it's really easy for people to say yes, and it spreads organically. I see you've got a wedding workshop here.
I do. Yeah, that's coming up next month.
Neat. I'm just going to keep asking you questions about the stuff you're doing because it's so good.
Unfortunately, I have to bring my daughter to work.
Oh, you gotta go. Okay, I got a vibe like you had to go.
She, the individual that's organizing this workshop, they're renting the conference room, and it's fantastic. And all the professionals involved are independent business owners who work out of their homes. So super exciting, lots of possibility there. She set this up. I have to shamefully admit I don't know how to set this up. So
okay.
I will have to look at that and get that done.
Totes. Yeah, this is the one that we had talked about the other day. And we can talk about how to set it up, but facebook.com/events, pick create event. They make it really, really easy. Facebook has made it so easy to create events. So we'll talk about it more.
Look at that. Okay. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, thank you so much, Christy. Congrats. Please keep us posted on how the Blueberry Muffin Day goes. I have some tips I want to follow up with you on, or maybe I'll just mention in this video. You can watch it later.
Okay, sounds good. And just so you know, I've got a photographer coming. So we're going to get pictures of this space with people in it up on the website. And then I have another photographer, when he comes back from vacation, is going to come in and we're going to do a little beer and pizza mixer with some of the locals that will come and fill the space also. So we're going to get lots of pictures up there.
Bingo. That was one of my 2 big tips. And I'll just tell you the other one is be ruthless about getting everyone's email address that shows up. That's all. Thank you.
Oh, good tip. Good tip. I will work on that. Thank you.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Christy. Take care.
Bye.
So I'm realizing the other thing that I wanted to say was this is it's a dating thing too. Coming up with the next invitation to keep the momentum going, you know? So like, oh, this was great. We had so much fun. Hey, wouldn't it be great if we hung out again next week? I've got this thing going on that I'd love for you to join for, you know? So then there's this sense of continuity and, well, she's got the launch party coming up. So that's the thing. So I would say, you know, probably what would be great is if every person who shows up for a muffin, she captures their email. And actually in my mind, what I would do is say, you know, hey, welcome to the thing. In order to redeem your free Blueberry Muffin ticket, we just need you to fill out this form, you know? And then you can have like a roll of like blue colored raffle tickets or something, you know? And then hand them a ticket and a flyer for the launch party. So there's this added invitation of, you know, everybody who shows up, we get their email and we put an invitation in their hand to show up to the next thing. It's a specific event.
I think that's super important. I think that I just think about some of the events that I've had over the years where we didn't ask for emails. My phone keeps falling down, sorry. And that is, it's not the best.
My heart breaks at the many, many discarded opportunities to capture emails and then the emails that were captured but then never engaged with. All the opportunity. Right, Dixon? All those emails we didn't collect.
Don't even go there, man.
Hi, Dixon. Welcome to the call. Long time no see.
It's been hard to get on them. It's just been so, you know, as you're aware, just crazy.
Dixon, do you know Jen? Jen, do you know Dixon?
Hello, Jen. How do you do?
Good, thanks. How are you?
So I'm in Longmont, Colorado. Where are you?
I'm sorry?
I'm in Longmont, Colorado. Where are you?
Oh, just outside of Chicago.
Sorry?
Just outside of Chicago.
Oh, where?
Highland Park, north suburbs.
So my son just got a job at O'Hare. So I was just pointing him towards Elk Grove Village in that type of area.
I actually grew up really close to there. I grew up in Schaumburg. But yeah, so Highland Park is right on the lake, north of the city, like north of.
That's great.
Yeah, we love it. Became suburbanites about 3 years ago, and no regrets yet.
Good, fantastic.
Dixon, we were talking about a local event that a woman who just got off the call is running this. Basically, I'll bring it back up on the screen share. It's a blueberry muffin, National Blueberry Muffin Day. And it's this Wednesday, and she just opened her space and doesn't have a ton of members yet. So, she's basically still in this kind of launch phase of just getting people interested and excited. And she's just absolutely killing it. It's a great idea, really straightforward. She just, went out and really promoted it. And so we went into all the things that she was doing that were smart and right about it, and then some ways to go a little further into it. And we ended up talking a little bit, and it's so appropriate that you hopped onto this call because you're such a shining example of this, involving other local community businesses and vendors to be a part of the program. And really the thing that I saw that helped me to synthesize the value and the potential of this more than any other thing I've seen was your launch party, when you had a whole bunch of local businesses and vendors that really populated the whole party, that provided the food and the drink and the entertainment. And it was this like incredible menagerie of stuff that was going on. There were these interactive exhibits. I mean, it was like a local business fair as much as it was a launch party. And Jen, who is going to launch her space soon, I think would benefit greatly from hearing a bit about it. So perhaps just for the sake of our call here, could you tell us a quick story about how that came together and just some of your impressions of how that's gone, and then just give us an update of where you're going from here?
So, what had happened was getting the business together. I'm part of the whole startup community. But also a colleague, she's at the chamber, her husband, I met her through her husband, just getting everybody together, like you were saying in the launch party, it seemed like the thing to do. Like we're kind of all in this together. We're not a big town, it's about 1,000 people in Lawrence. So, on a good day. And we were looking for critical mass. The co-working space, there isn't one. Now there are two. And the idea was, that we could all basically, I know it sounds cheesy, but we could all do better together, and getting everybody all in one place. All I recall was that it was hard, but at the end of the day, well, sorry, I shouldn't say that. It was harder than it should have been. But then when everybody saw what was going on, there was a great, a great way of just, how long ago was this? It was 2 years ago.
Yeah, August of 2016.
Yep. And it was just great, getting the local. Here's one thing. So one of the things that I do in order to be able to help with this is I hold a coffee club. So there are these coffee clubs that are around the world. This is not my idea. It's a thing called an open coffee club. And because I had been running the open coffee club, I knew all these people. I knew all these businesses. So basically, that's a good point, Tony, that I had created a lot of networking ahead of time. So before I actually did the launch, I actually knew that I had a lot of what was already going on was from working with the local community. So there's that. It takes time, so every other Tuesday morning at 8:00, we just meet at coffee. Now we meet the coffee at our, and it finally migrated from the coffee shops to our place itself. So now the COSOLV actually hosts the Open Coffee Club. And it's that generated a huge amount of the people that came out. So what's happened is we have a lot of remote, independent startup businesses, and we built up an initial membership. Tony has been here, so he's seen the place. We've been in perpetual construction for 3 years. That's one of the things that's really held us up. Is it's been a real drag on our mind share because you've just been paying attention to the details. Tony, the third floor, the third floor, meaning the first floor, is now finished. So now all 3 floors are now up and running.
Congratulations. Nice segue, by the way, from your launch party to 2 years ago to your current day update. Very good.
So the idea was like, well, where did it get us? What it did was it created a community of people that know us. It created a community of people that say, that's where you need to go. It created a competitor, which I always think is co-opetition. I always think is, it's one of those more is more. It's like restaurants. And so you have the more of us here, and people say, this is the way it works. So because people still don't know what co-working is, Tony, it's just amazing how you still have to continue to explain to people what co-working is. So now what we have is we have the first floor open, and what we've done is we've populated with, I got to talk to her about that, our web person, about our little ticker there.
It's so funny how it's ticking along so slowly, but now I feel this drama. Like I don't want to leave. I want to see how high the number goes.
So what ended up happening is that we were approached through one of our members to say one of the things that's missing is that we don't have permission.
Sorry, I'm totally troubleshooting with you here now.
yeah. I have to find out. There we go. So yoga is on Tuesday, so I know something's not right there.
Sorry to derail you. Keep going.
So that we have childcare. So we have the biggest thing that's probably happened to us, and I told Tony about this briefly, is that you can't come out and co-work because you can't find a place to have somebody take care of your child. And so that became a really big deal. And so I just left there. I was unfortunately, we ran over in our meeting. We were talking about how are we going to tell the community about this? How are we going to tell the community that something like this exists? How do we explain to people the benefits of both being able to have a place where you can drop off your kid? So, and initially it's using the IKEA rule, which means that we don't have a licensed childcare facility yet, but you're allowed to keep a child here for 3 hours before you have to leave, as long as you're still in the facility. So by doing it that way, that allows us to introduce people to the concept and find out what do we have. So this morning I find out, for example, that I can't give out numbers, but there are already more than 50 members, and it's only 6 weeks in.
Dixon, hold the phone. What's this rule with daycare?
They call it, informally, they call it the IKEA rule. The IKEA rule is that it's like going to IKEA. You can put your kid in the ball pit for 3 hours, and as long as you're still in the building, it's not childcare. So therefore, it's not. You don't have to have a licensed facility with all of the things that go with that. Not that we don't want to do that, but as a starting thing, that's a way to get started.
Jen, you seem familiar with this as well.
That's exactly what we're doing. Yeah, we've got a playroom, and we're doing the 3 hour need to stay on site rule. And I'm actually going to outsource the care to a third party, and they specialize in providing childcare for drop-in centers and gyms and stuff like that.
Yep. So in our case, it's one of our members actually formed her company and said, "Can I use this space to do this?" So amazingly, it's actually a member company that's doing it. So it couldn't be a more beneficial situation for both of us. So she has very little risk in getting it going.
So cool. Great stuff, Dixon.
So go ahead, Jen.
I was going to say, I think the more modular you can make the childcare, the better, so that you can literally plop it in and out, not only out of your physical space, but also out of your business if you need to. I've done a lot of research of all the childcare and co-working places that have tanked, and it seems like the ones that have tanked, they've had the childcare completely wrapped in with the rest of their business. Like it was just integrated so deeply, as opposed to being more modular. I could be wrong. I haven't opened yet, so I don't really know what I'm talking about, but that's what my instincts tell me.
Well, I think your idea of modular is right. By way of example, we're actually renting space next door at a dance studio so that the children are actually separate from the parents that are co-working, so they literally can't see them, so they can focus on what they're doing. So your notion of modularity, I think, is quite correct.
Yep. That's really important too.
Yeah, because you're here to work. That's why you're here. You're here to just get one thing done. And even having said that, Jen, I'd love to follow up with you. I kind of want to actually start with that. We were talking about marketing messages and things like that. Just get one thing done today. Like they have this concept when you see, for example, a Navy commander talk to the graduating class at Annapolis. They say, make your bed in the morning.
Yes.
Because if the whole day goes wrong, you're going to come back home and your bed is made and you've done one thing. And this notion of building upon getting one good thing done. So if you bring yourself out with your child, just make sure you're set to do one thing. Get that one thing done, and then the rest of the 3 hours is gravy. so that you'll feel good about it. And if we help people help themselves in this way, why do you come to a co-working space? I just needed to get a few things done. Well, which one was the most important thing? But build that into the marketing messages, build that into the ethos of the space, build that into the community development as well.
Yeah, I want to applaud. I'm totally on board with that, and I make my bed every day.
Well, and it seems like it juxtaposes really well with the idea of doing a more focused, program-driven approach to say, okay, you've got 3 hours. Let's make the absolute best of those 3 hours, and let's make it a coordinated program. The work sprint construct is perfect for this because, it's the same kind of thing. We've only got 3 hours. Let's, determine what we're going to do with these 3 hours, and then really focus in on doing it, and then do it, and then decide, at the end, review. Did we do what we said we were going to do? Did we run into problems? How are we going to do better next time? It just seems like a perfect opportunity to incorporate a lot of those things because you have those constraints to work with. I had this, it's funny, I just drew this in my notebook from the other day because it's such a consistent thing. It reminds me of when, of the magic of when your laptop battery is dying. Have you ever had this when you're working in a cafe, and it's like, you're just kind of like moseying along and then you realize you're at 15%. You forgot your charger, or you don't have a plug, and then like your productivity goes up. So I made this little diagram of productivity, battery life, right? It's true. Those last like 15 minutes of battery on your computer is like, you could get like 2 hours worth of work done.
That's really funny.
Yeah. So if you could, I've actually thought, I don't remember if I've done this on purpose. We've done outdoor events before, but I've actually thought of doing events where it's a race against your battery, where you you bring your computer, but you don't bring your charger. And the whole point is to like finish your work before your battery dies.
I love that. They should probably do.
Anyway.
One really awesome thing before we say goodbye. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We don't see you.
Sorry. So, sorry?
Your video went off.
I know my internet is so bad. I had to turn off my video. I used bookstore here in town when it was going out of business. They went out, their last day was yesterday, and I went and got books for our library at the co-working space. I spent $190 on thousands of dollars worth of books. I'm so excited.
Wow.
That's my fun story for the day.
Congrats. That's super exciting.
That's awesome.
All right, cool. Well, guys, it's been super fun. Thanks so much for the great call. And Dixon, thanks for tuning in. Would love to get a little bit more of an update on how things are going with you, and hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, get into the next call. Sorry for being so absent for so long.
All good. All good. All right. Well, thanks, Jen, and thanks to Christy if you're watching the video replay later.
Cheers, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
All right. See you next week. Bye, guys.